welcome back to the show. I am your host, Cheshire Cat, who you may recognize me from some things as the cat in front of you, because I'm here, so you have to recognize me. Also, I am the cat in the 9 pantomimes of the Red Sandcastle Theatre in Toronto. I say Toronto because I think our reach, it could be global. It is the internet after all. We're not confined to Leslieville. We're not confined to the east side or downtown. We are worldwide as of now. So hello, all the fans of the Cheshire Cat around the world, or at least a couple of places. So, in the pantomimes, if you do not know and you are new here, I have had many jobs. I have been an officer of the law. I have made shoes. I have been a babysitter. But now, in the pandemic, it has been quite quiet in terms of employment. I have had this serve. In Canada, the government sent me $2,000 a month to do what you will, which of course I spent on fish and chicken and tuna, which is delicious. And yes, I know tuna is a fish, but it deserves its own category, just as it deserves its own tin. But now I finally have another job. I say finally, but I'm not happy about this job. No, it is the lowest of low. It is the worst job I have ever had. It is a worse even than a babysitter. It is puppy sitter. Yes, I have this little puppy that I have to take care of. I have to feed her. I have to entertain her. I have to walk her. Her name is Soka, after the wonderful musical genre. But she is a high-maintenance little being. I have to say, as a cat, I am not nearly so high-maintenance. No, I walk myself. I feed myself. I pet myself. Yes. Well, it is what it is. We all have to pivot in a pandemic. Oh, but it looks like I also have a little present. Of course. On the third show, we've got 3 French hens. French hens or chicken dinners. They're gift cards. The chickens are not in this box, huh? It's just a well-packed present from Greta Solomon's, Baffiol, and Gare de l'Est. Delicious. And now, on with the show. What is this puppy doing now? Get out of there!
Hello everyone, my name is Rosie Callaghan and I am a past panto player. You may have seen me in such plays as Excalibur and Cats in Boots. Now I just want to remind you that we're here today to support the Red Sandcastle. It's an amazing independent theater where independent companies can grow and flourish and put on plays. So please consider sharing this video and giving a little donation if you have the coins. Thank you so much.
Oh, you can have my ass!
Your donkey!
Yes! That brand new donkey that I just bought, he's off there in the animal garage thing.
Oh, the barn?
Oh, Tosh!
And now for the interview portion of the show, the significant portion of a late night talk show like this one, we have panto player David Huband on the show. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Cheshire Cat.
Do you remember which pantomime you played in?
It was Alice in Blunderland.
The very first one. And who did you play?
I played, I think it was Rob Ford. Tony Babcock played, obviously, my brother, Doug Ford.
Yes, I remember. Very entertaining.
We had big hula hoop costumes, and actually, I think our names were Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
Perhaps those names can no longer be used today.
Well,
I
think
we rely on the Tweedledummer to take us through a pandemic. A wonderful pantomime. That is where I, in fact, was born. The Cheshire Cat, of course, belongs to Alice in Blunderland very first.
That's right.
So, you know what always impressed me about you as a panto player, David Band? Your fantastic improv skills. Sometimes the pantomime does not go as one expects, and you have to ad-lib on the fly, and you're very good at this. How do you get so good?
I've been doing improv for many, many years. I started when I was, 15 years old in Winnipeg. And I started improvising in a comedy troupe there called Confidential Exchange. And then I did some work at Second City on the main stage, improvised a bit. I also am in a comedy troupe called Illustrated Red, and we've been improvising for, almost 40 years now. So
Practice, practice, practice. That's what
that's
they
right.
say.
That's right.
10,000 hours. Okay, well, perhaps you can help our viewers and myself get better at improv. Is there a way we can do this practice?
Yes, there's a fun game called the question game, and that means that you and I can do a scene together, and we can only speak in the form of questions. So, yeah.
I rarely ask questions because I know everything. I just make statements.
You're very smart, Cheshire Cat.
Well, thank you. So nice of you to notice.
So let's all we need is a relationship and a location, and then we can go.
Well, I like your location very much. A winter cabin, if you will.
Yes, it's very cozy.
And as for a relationship, we could have a man and his cat.
A man and his cat. Yes. Okay.
I feel like I'm qualified to play this role.
And as do I.
And do we need a situation as well, or what else do we need?
Let's see. There's a big storm, and we're trapped in the cabin, and there's no cat food.
Oh no! The horror! What a tragic scene already. I thought improv was supposed to be funny.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, I let you lead. I'm ready.
Right. Cheshire, are you hungry?
Am I not always hungry?
Why do you torment me so? Can't you just give me a chance and look, take a day off from eating?
Why do you deserve to be tormented?
What's the point of you wanting to eat every day? You're getting a little chubby anyway.
What is the point of your existence, human? What are you useful for? Because I don't see any usefulness here, huh? Complain.
Why have I been on the planet for so long? I don't know. I always question my existence. Don't you? I mean, you've got 9 lives, don't you?
Why don't you just go to the store and buy some food?
What kind of food?
Why don't you take a guess what kind of food a cat might eat, huh?
Cat food? Look.
Oh, does that mean I won the game?
Cat food. Listen, I've got a confession to make, Cheshire. We ran out of cat food yesterday. What do you think we should do?
Why don't you take the snowmobile and drive into town and buy some more, as I said?
Do you think I know how to drive a snowmobile?
Do you think I care?
Why don't you drive a snowmobile?
Why don't you become a cat for a day and then tell me the answer to your very own question? It's very silly.
Is it right for me to be a cat? I'm more of a dog person.
I want to do, smoke coming out of the cat ears. This game is so hard. I default to you, David Huband.
Oh,
I am weak from lack of cat food. I want so badly to answer the questions, so badly to give nice, clear statements of coherent facts.
It is, you know what? It's a fun game. It's a hard game as well. You know, it's because you fall into traps of like you get stuck in trying to think of a question. But the game works the best, I think, when you try and use the questions as a jumping off point for a conversation. Right? And so you don't get trapped.
So instead of saying, "Why are you so stupid?" you say something useful to the scene.
Right. So any why questions kind of gets us in a loop that you can't get out of. It's kind of like being in Waiting for Godot.
I have found also in life, the why questions can get you in trouble. Best avoid it altogether.
Yes, I agree. Avoid those why questions altogether.
Wow, this conversation got very deep. That's stuff you can take home and bank it, the no why questions.
That's right. No why questions.
Okay, one more game, Dave Huband. What else shall we play?
Let's play one word at a time.
Okay.
All right. So we can tell a story one word at a time. Would you like to start? What's the title of our story?
The title of our story will be Winter Wonderland.
Winter Wonderland. Okay. One,
They
I
went
out
into
the
park,
and
looked
at
birds,
they
looked
at
me,
we
looked
at
each other.
for
What what a great story already. I'm fascinated.
the
Dogs
chased
the
birds,
away.
but
I
saved
myself
from
dogs.
suddenly
There
was
a
cat
in
my
face.
get
Out,
she
said
to
me.
and
I
did
not.
the
Cat
ran
up
the
tree.
the
End.
and
What a wonderful story.
it's true.
I like how many cats and birds and dogs were in the story.
There you go. Every story needs cats and birds and dogs.
So, as we approach the end of the year, David Huband, do you have any resolutions?
Resolutions. Gosh. Well, I
Have
hope
we canceled resolutions after how last year went? We're just like, no more resolutions.
no more
We're going to ask for
resolutions.
too much.
Yeah. I'd like a vaccine that works. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Well, that's not really a resolution. That is a wish.
That's
Because
true.
you cannot control that unless you are secretly working for Pfizer and this whole improv teacher thing is a front, huh?
Shh, quiet.
Oh,
Keep the Pfizer thing down.
I let the cat out of the bag. I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I myself jump out of the bag.
As cats are wont to do.
Absolument.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, hold on, Cheshire.
What's
What's your New Year's resolution?
my New Year's resolution is to stay exactly the same because I am perfect.
Of course. Makes sense.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, huh? That's
true.
what I say.
That's true.
Well, you are a wonderful singer, David, and I would love to hear a song from you. Is there something you wish to sing?
Well, I was thinking we could do the song "Baby It's Cold Outside." Would you like
A
to?
duet together.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I gotta go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been so
very nice. So nice.
My mother will start to worry.
Oh, perhaps you should send her
My
a text.
father will be pacing the floor.
Oh, does he pace often?
So really, I better scurry.
Oh, like a mouse.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Would you like some warm milk?
The neighbors might think,
I don't care what neighbors think.
say, what's in this drink?
I'm sure they like milk as much as the
I
next
wish
cat.
I knew how
What do you wish?
to break this spell.
But you can never break the spell of the Cheshire Cat.
Why, thank you, I ought to say no, sir.
Oh, you can say
At
whatever
least
you
I'm
like.
gonna say that I tried.
What did you try to do?
I really can't stay.
Well, you are welcome to leave anytime.
Baby, it's cold outside.
It is true, it is very cold.
You're pushy, you know.
I am? I don't think so. I am very accommodating.
I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
I did not ask you a question.
Welcome has been so
So
nice.
very nice.
Warm. My sister will be suspicious.
Well, maybe
My
she should
brother
mind her
will
own
be
business.
there at the door.
The door is always open.
Maintenance mind is vicious. well, maybe just a cigarette more.
I do not think that is advisable.
And I don't even
Very
smoke.
bad.
I gotta get home.
You could take
You
a
can lend me a coat.
Uber.
You've
Prime?
really been grand.
Ah, thank you.
But don't you see?
What do I see?
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Oh yes, and lots of
There
jokes.
will be plenty implied. I really can't stay.
And leave.
Baby,
It's
cold
cold outside.
Okay, fine then. Just another drink.
I can call you an Uber. That's how this song was meant to go, I'm pretty sure. Well, thank you so much, David Huband, for being on the show.
Thank you, Cheshire.
We're going to end with the famous panto handshake. You pile your hand on my hand, and we say, "Go panto!"
Go Panto!
Perfection.
In the sewers of Great Holyrood, you'll find a thoroughfare. It's the part of Great Holyrood that runs through Dundas Square.
And thank goodness, it is now time for intermission.
Welcome to Pandemic Panto Intermission Treats. Today, we're making festive chocolate chip cookies. Here are the ingredients you'll need. You'll need butter, sugar, brown sugar, eggs, vanilla, baking soda, salt, flour, chocolate chips, and to make them festive, some red and green Smarties. Once you've made your chocolate chip cookies, we're going to make them festive by adding some red and green Smarties. After you've added a red and green Smartie to each cookie, it's time to put them in the oven. So festive. Bon appetit!
Once again, this snack was impeccable. Wait a second, did we forget to do the news today? Quick, what is the story of the news?
I'm Matt, the Panto player, and I've got some Christmas time action news for you. All right. Oh, sorry. Again? Okay. Well, sorry. I've got some breaking news. Taking you to the breaking news. Hello. I am the knight Pelenor, and I am at the scene of the finding of Excalibur, the sword in the stone. Yes. And I, Pelenor, will be the one to pull the sword from the stone. That's right. Here is the sword, and I will begin to pull. Ah! What is this? This is a baseball bat. This isn't the sword. Oh, let me try again. A crowbar? No, this isn't the sword. A laser sword from Star Wars? Definitely not the sword. Try again. A dust monster? A can opener? A butter knife? A little bunny? Oh, I love little bunnies. Well, I guess we didn't get the sword out of the stone, but we did get a little bunny. Thanks very much for experiencing this failure with me. And back to you, Matt. All right. Yeah. No problem. So we don't have time to actually get to the news. I guess we'll get to it next time. That breaking news is really cool. I've been Matt, the Panda Player from Christmas Time Breaking News with the Panda Player.
This is becoming very frustrating. I promise you, tomorrow we will get to the end of the story. Right, Soka? Today's story time is the original version of Cinderella. I'm sure you are well familiar with the revised version, but sometimes it's nice to go back to the original one. Here we go. Once upon a time, a cat lived in the home of a man, his wife, and their daughter. And when the wife died, the man and his daughter were left alone. Although the cat was not very impressed with the man, as he was very simple and not able to understand animals, the cat quietly pledged to make herself the guardian of this lovely young daughter Ella, and this young woman was pleasing to the cat. She had a warm lap, she liked giving head scratches, and often would provide the cat with catnap and crumpled up paper to play with. Always a wonderful time. It was an agreeable relationship. You should know that we cats are usually rather disdainful of humans, except the Egyptians, who quite wisely knew to worship the cats. The man was very codependent and soon remarried a widow woman who the cat did not like. In addition, this woman and her two disagreeable daughters all had very large feet and often stepped on the cat's tail. And also they had many rocking chairs, which understandably made the cat quite nervous. The new wife and her daughters were very mean to Ella as well. They spent a lot of money on fancy clothing and furnishings for themselves and forced Ella to live in the attic. They only gave her old clothes to wear. Ella had to do all the housework and all the chores, including cleaning the chimney, which is why they called her Cinderella, right? Because the soot and the cinders got all over her. She was quite dirty and she wasn't allowed to take a bath. The cat, of course, did not mind this. Cats have no need for fancy clothing or fancy furniture. The cat stayed with the girl, keeping her little attic room free of mice, while allowing the mice to roam freely over the rest of the house. Ah, revenge. I have to mention here that most versions of this story leave out the cat completely, which doesn't really make any sense. I mean, when have mice ever been heroic? Does that even sound plausible? No, of course not. It is ridiculous. We continue. News came that the most handsome prince in all the land planned to hold a grand ball in the hopes of meeting his future wife. This was before the internet and all the dating apps, of course, so this is the only way you could do such things. You had a ball, and only the princes had the marketing budget to do it too, so really, the apps have really opened it up. The stepmother was determined that one of her daughters would be royalty, so the three of them went crazy preparing. They searched for the best, fanciest dresses and hairstyles, hoping it would take attention away from their enormous, ugly feet. I have to say, all feet are a little bit ugly. It's much more pleasing to have paws. Like all the young women in the kingdom, Cinderella very much wanted to attend the ball as well, but she had no clothes for such a formal occasion. The cat sprang into action. She rounded up all the mice and reminded them that she could harm them if they did not follow her plan. In exchange for their protection, the mice would run around the house and steal fabric, thread, ribbons, needles, and other supplies for Cinderella. Then Cinderella, under the fashion advice of the cat, would create a party dress for Cinderella to wear to the ball. The mice agreed, and over several weeks the cat and Cinderella created a beautiful ball-suitable attire. They even found a pair of her late mother's tiny shoes, which perfectly fit Cinderella's delicate and beautiful little feet. They got a bucket of soapy water, so Cinderella was able to wash and do her hair and attend the ball. On the day of the ball, the stepsisters spent the day at the beauty parlor. When they returned, dressed and ready to go, they saw Cinderella looking lovely as a flower in the garden. Really, I should make a note in this and say lovely as the cat. Duly noted. The stepsisters flew into a furious rage. They tore Cinderella's dress to bits. Laughing, the three left for the ball without her. Poor Cinderella picked up the cat, sat in the corner, and cried, which the cat did not like. Cats do not like to get wet. She had worked so hard and now could not even go to the ball. As Cinderella's tears landed on the cat's fur, this triggered some special fairy magic, because like all cats, this cat had magical powers. The tears summoned the cat's fairy godmother, The fairy godmother dried her tears and said, "Beautiful Cinderella, do not be sad, for you shall go to the ball. But fairy grandmother, I have nothing to wear, etc., etc." But the fairy godmother smiled kindly, waved her wand. Suddenly Cinderella was transformed. Her hair was perfectly coiffed. She was in a breathtaking dress, all sparkly, and on her feet were little glass slippers that were not only charming but were surprisingly comfortable. The cat wondered why she had not thought of this before, because now she owed the mice a lot of unnecessary leniency. But such is life. Now, Cinderella, remember, this magic expires at midnight sharp. When the clock strikes 12, your clothes will be back in rags, your hair will collapse, your perfect makeup will melt away. All right, that's why I remembered the cat. Because with my version of plan, you could party all night long. Ah well. Cinderella thanks her godmother, kissed the cat, and rushed outside. Waiting for her was a glorious carriage, pulled by a team of white horses. She hopped in and was transported to the ball. The moment the prince spied her, he was in love. They danced all night and were filled with joy and caring for one another, and also a lot of, respect and trust also. Suddenly the clock started to strike. 1, 2, oh no! Cinderella was in a panic. She had to go. She ran off down the palace steps while her clothes started changing back into rags. One of her glass slippers fell off, while the others turned into a worn-out flip-flop. Her glorious carriage turned into a pumpkin and the white horses into rats that squeaked and scampered away. Cinderella was in love. She didn't even care that she had to walk home on one flip-flop. It made a strange slapping noise as she walked along the road to get home. But she was full of joy and hope. Confused, the prince had tried to chase her, but she had disappeared into the night. He found the tiny glass slipper and held it, screaming, "I don't even know your name!" His stepmother and her horrid daughter returned, cursing this unknown princess who had shown up to the party and ruined it for everyone else. But Cinderella slept well that night, cuddling the cat. The cat enjoyed it too, I have to say. News from the palace spread throughout the land. The prince was determined to find this mystery girl. He would go from house to house with the tiny slipper, and whoever fits this tiny shoe must be the lady in question. It's always been strange to me that all the people had different sized feet. Because feet sizes only come in like 6, 7, 7.5. It's almost like, we have only certain discrete kinds of sizes for shoes, but not in this town. Unique feet, like snowflakes. Finally, after several days, he arrived at the home of Cinderella. The stepsisters stepped forward trying to shove their hideously large feet into the shoe, but they could barely even put one bunion into the dainty thing. Cinderella looked at the prince as she swept the room. She asked, "May I try it?" She knew that the sisters could do nothing with the prince in the room. The stepsisters scoffed. "That is just Cinderella. She just cleans up. She wasn't even at the ball." Cinderella was dirty and in rags. But the prince recognized her somehow. He said, "Every young woman may try the shoe." Cinderella stepped forward, and her freakishly small foot fit the freakishly small shoe. The cat ran in with the old flip-flop in her mouth and dropped it at Cinderella's feet like a dead bird. Everyone in the room recoiled, but Cinderella kindly petted the cat and thanked her, as one should always do when a cat brings you an offering, of course, if you have any manners. She slid the flip-flop onto the other foot, and Cinderella's clothes magically turned once again into a lovely dress, though this one suitable for day wear. Cat magic is very powerful and fashion conscious. The prince took her also ridiculously small hand in his, and they were married later that day. They lived happily ever after, but not without some couples counseling from time to time to help. The moral of the story is, no matter how difficult your life is, when shopping for clothes, relish what makes you unique, your personal sense of style, and also, of course, that the cat can make everything better. And that is the end of our story time. And that is the end of episode 3. Tomorrow we have the beautiful voice of Rebecca Perry on the show and some more surprises.